Well, thank you again. I told you that you're going to see me of the afternoon, so I have the pleasure to have here the three winners of the startup competition, and I wanted to introduce first Andrés to make the presentation. They're going to be all making a 15-minute presentation, and then we will have a small chat about different topics. So, Andrés, whenever you want.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for staying this late. My name is Andrés, co-founder of Xeerpa. And we are a technology company based in Madrid. And we focus on digital marketing, more specifically in social media profiling, which I'll explain in a moment what that is. We work for clients in different industries. Two of them quite important for us, sports organizations, where we work with La Liga, FC Barcelona, Real Madrid, and tourism as well, and hospitality, where we work with Tour Spain, Iberia, Meliá, and also with consumer goods. But those two industries are quite relevant for us. So in terms of sports, I think we all agree that the basis of sports is the fans and the people who actually practice the sports. And one of the big problems that sports organizations have, big or small, is that they know very little about us, fans or practitioners. Let's see. Okay. So in our conversations with sports organizations and with our clients, there is, in terms of digital marketing, there is one big challenge at the moment, which is precisely to get to know the fans and the consumers much better, to collect more data about us so they can personalize their communications and offerings and contents based on what each of us prefer and like. So some stats I wanted to give you today. 74% of us feel frustrated when we receive content, communications by email, advertising that is not tailored to our preferences. Up to 42% is the potential increase that you can obtain from your marketing campaigns and advertising campaigns if you personalized your communications and offering to your clients. And just over half of the people would be willing to share certain information about themselves in order to receive these personalized informations. Obviously, if the other party doesn't know us at all, then it's very difficult for them to personalize the communications. In fact, many companies, they only have the email and the name, and just with that information, it's very difficult to really offer you exactly what you'd be willing to pay or consume. So to solve this problem, we look into social media as a great opportunity for sports organizations to get to know their fans and practitioners in greater detail. If you use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're all leaving a trace of the things that we like, companies that we follow, athletes that we follow, comments, geolocations. And that information has been very difficult for organizations to get hold of it and use it for marketing purposes. And this is exactly what we do at Xeerpa. We help collect all that information and build an individual profile, which looks like more or less like this. So it will contain the name, the email of the person, topics of conversation and comments, even a personality profile where we can see if it's somebody adventurous or more cautious. We can have an understanding of the preferences of that person in terms of lifestyle, if she or he prefers gastronomy or fashion or beauty or gadgets. And we can look at the specific things, brands, athletes, retailers, etc., that this person follows in social media. And that will give us a very good idea of the lifestyle and preferences of each of us, also in terms of geolocations. So how do we do all this? We do it through social login. You may have seen these little buttons that allow you to sign in or register to a website, to a Wi-Fi hotspot, to an app, or even participate in a promotion using your favorite social network. For us, consumers, it's an opportunity to do it in a more agile, in a quicker way. We just need to press the button. For the sports organizations, this means the opportunity to get to know us in greater detail. And obviously, you may be wondering if collecting all this data, goes against the law, or if it's permitted, etc. It's all consented by us. So in the social login process, the social network asks for our permission so we can share this information with the brand. And from that moment on, that's when the sports organization can collect that data and start building that relationship with you in a more personalized way. The social media information gets to be part of the global pool of data that these companies have. And from the individual profiles of each of us, the sports organization can start creating segments or groups of people with a common preference or with a common lifestyle. And this is how they can then personalize the communications to this group of people, talking to them about precisely the things that they like. For example, tourists coming to Andorra, some of us might prefer the shopping experience, some other people might prefer the ski, or the trekking, or the nature, the gastronomy. So it's very important for Andorra or for any other sports organization, any other brand, to be able to talk to each of us with the right message, and that will create more opportunities for us to respond more positively. So part of all this is the personalization of contents, emails, advertising. Also through social media, we can understand the locations of the people, so we can understand if it's somebody local or if it's somebody coming from other cities or other countries, and personalize the experience through that information. In terms of sports, it's very important the sponsors. So for the sports organization to really identify potential brands that our own fans are preferring is key to secure new opportunities, for example, new deals with these companies. And also for existing sponsors to be able to provide them with qualified leads for their services and products. Finally, if we understand the favorite players, teams, preferences in general of each of us, you could create personalized experiences, maybe with the VIP clients or VIP fans, even like in this example at FC Barcelona, like really introducing you to your favorite player in some engagement campaign that they did. So I wanted to announce today, now that I take the opportunity, that so far at Xeerpa we've been working mainly with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But we've been talking a lot about esports today throughout the event, and I wanted to announce today that we are now supporting analytics for Twitch. So sports organizations and companies creating activities in this social network, they can now have a much better understanding of the audience that they have, understanding the other channels that they watch, what type of content that is, and then being able to personalize their experience based on all this knowledge. So that was all from me. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Andorra, GSIC, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks a lot indeed, Andrés. A great presentation. I'm glad now to invite to the stage Etienne from Moonbikes. So, Etienne, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrés, for the presentation. I know it's been a long day. I'm going to try to keep it as short and dynamic as possible. So for those who never heard of us, I'm representing Moonbikes. I'm in charge of the international sales development of the company. So we're a young French startup based in the Alps. We just closed a fundraising of 4.5 million euros that helps us dream bigger than only the Alps, and that goes through international expansion. And we have to look first just beyond our French borders, and Andorra is a great destination for us and a great market. So to this date, we are a small team of 15 employees, and we are in our second year of proper operations, and our plan is to deliver next December 400 bikes in France, Europe, and Northern America. what exactly is the Moonbike? So I think what is better than an image? So Moonbikes is the first electric snow bike. So it's not a snowmobile. It's a new product. It's only one ski. It's super light. It's super easy to handle, and it's much less expensive than a normal snowmobile. And it's also dedicated for recreational use, not only utilitarian. So we are creating a new market. And when I mean new market, it's a new market for the users, but it's also a new market for potential operators that would like to invest in the activity and operate a fleet for rental or guiding tours. So as I was saying, it's much lighter and smaller, so 90 kilos only, including the batteries, 2 meters 25 in terms of length, and 25 centimeters wide in terms of belt width. So the impact on the snowpack is less impactful on the ecosystem. So a couple of technical specs. So what matters most to people when I talk about Moonbikes usually is the speed. Speed is up to 45 kilometers per hour, so enough to have fun, especially on such a small bike, and not too much in order not to put your potential customers at risk when using it. It can ride uphill up to 40% steepness. You can ride in all types of snow, so it's just like skiing. It will be, the more fresh the snow is, the more fun you will have, but it can be handled on any kind of snowpack. So frozen, powder, melted, whatever, you will have fun on it. For professionals, we have two kinds of use. As I was saying, of course, recreational, guided tours. You organize a circuit where you guide your customers, you help them discover the mountains and the nature in a 100% silent. You will only focus on the ride and the surroundings. So it's a totally new way to approach mountains. The other use for a ski resort could be utility. For example, for the safety teams or the ski patrol or the technicians that work on the ski lifts. It's an easy way to have an eco-friendly way of maintaining a good experience for the customers. So here a couple of figures for operational purposes. The idea, I'm not going to dig in right now because it's a bit too harsh for the time of the day, but basically it's a super high profitability for operators. I will be happy to discuss all of this with any one of you who is interested. But this is a concept that has been proven in the past season in the Alps, so we are super confident of the profitability of the system. So just a small map to see all the results that have been partnering with us and that will be partnering with us starting December. We have around 15 results that are trusting us already. We aim to reach up to 30 this winter and even more in the coming years. This is our expansion plan in the short term. So as I was saying, we focus on the Alps, the Pyrenees, and of course, Northern Europe and Northern America. And since it's the best way for you to understand what exactly is a Moonbike, I thought that a small video presentation summarizing everything I said to you and showing you images of the product and activity would be the best way. So thanks a lot for your attention. I leave you with this small movie. So thank you for your attention. If I raised your curiosity, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You have my contact there. Reach out to me on LinkedIn or whatever support. I will be super happy to discuss your project or anything that could include a Moonbike with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Etienne. I have to try one of those, definitely.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And now I'm glad, lastly, to introduce Hermann Winkler for Snow 51, the winner of the startup competition. So thanks, Hermann, and the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hermann Winkler. I'm a co-founder of Snow 51. I'm very happy to be here today. Thanks for receiving this award. Thanks to Andorra. Thanks to GSIC. And today I brought you some pictures about the winter sport development in China. I will explain you shortly what makes Snow 51 relevant in China, and I will tell you why we at Snow 51 think what happens in China and what happens at Snow 51 is also relevant for Andorra. So let's jump right into it. What you see there is the high-speed train bringing you from downtown Beijing to Zhongli, which is the winter sports hub in China. You drive with 350 km/h, and in less than 45 minutes, you are from downtown city on the slopes. This is not only convenient, but it also cuts down the transportation time from 6 hours by car to 45 minutes, allowing 20 million plus people in Beijing to have easy access to the slopes. So if we talk of winter sport development in China, this is the picture you should have in mind. You will get much more proof when you watch the Beijing Winter Olympics, which will start in a little bit more than 100 days. What else makes us loving the Chinese market? It's the size. President Xi talks about 300 million people which he wants to engage in winter sports. Not only skiing, but also all kind of ice sports. And this is a government plan, so he will execute on it. In terms of skiers, China will double the world market in no time. They already sell about 20 million tickets, which is about half of the size of Austria, France, or the US. So in a very limited period of time, China will be the #1 ski nation in the world. The ski industry will account for 1 trillion RMB. 1 trillion RMB is 135 billion euro. So winter sports is a niche market, but it's a very relevant niche market, and everyone who is in winter sports need to take the development in China seriously, because it's the biggest opportunity which we have in decades. The third strong argument for the Chinese market is the commitment. There is a winter sport plan 2016 to 2025. For example, 5,000 elementary and middle schools need to implement winter sports into their curriculum. They need to put a focus on it. So it's a very strategic plan. It's not a development by coincidence. And like the minister this morning says, winter sport is of national interest. The same is true for China, and it's planned to account for 4% of the GDP. So there's a lot of investments going into winter sports, and winter sports is not only a strong commitment from the government, but it's also a lifestyle. It's more than a sport, it's a status symbol, it's a luxury symbol. It helps to differentiate what was the Swiss watch before or the Italian handbag. Now it's experience, and experience is sport, and last but not least, also travel. Chinese had 140 million outbound trips, international outbound trips pre-COVID. That's nearly double as much as the Germans, which are ranked as #2. And only 10% of the Chinese population has a passport, and they're already the travel world champions. So you can imagine there's a big potential in tourism as well. So what we do at Snow 51, I told you already, we are the biggest indoor carpet ski school, and I will explain you in a minute how this works. But the innovation we brought to the Chinese market is that we brought the mountains to the city. Because in China, it's not like in Andorra, you don't go out of the door and you are in the middle of the mountains, but it's pretty complex to reach the ski resource. So you need to provide an easy access, and if you want to bring the people on the slopes, first you need to bring the mountains to the city, and that's exactly what we do. We are based in the shopping malls, in the best retail locations. We have about 50 machines installed in the meantime and about 15 shops running, always in prime retail locations. So the concept is relatively simple. It's based on those carpet ski machines. You can imagine a treadmill, similar concept. It's just bigger in size and you can regulate the height and the speed, but it's the most efficient way to learn skiing. It's 5 times faster than on real snow. And that's the perfect concept for Chinese to have an easy access for skiing. And once they have the basic skills, obviously the dream is always to ski on real snow. But this is the entrance. This is the driving range of alpine skiing, as we call it. We have a lot of families among our members, but it's for adults, it's for beginners, but it's also for professional athletes. For example, the Swiss national team also trains on this kind of machines. We need to build a community because in China it's hard to have people who ski, so it's not your parents or your friends are skiing, so it's the first generation skiers. What we do, we work very closely with social media platforms. We bring the influencers, we bring the celebrities to the Alps to let them enjoy the beauty of winter sports. We did some campaigns with Weibo, which is kind of the Chinese Twitter, and we reached 250 million clicks with this one campaign, which also in China is very big, and the media value goes into the millions. And that's the perfect way to position yourself or your ski resort in the Chinese market. We have perfect partners, so we teaming up with very good companies, like in the picture you see here from Shanghai. With AMA Sports, we have shops together with Salomon, with Arc'teryx, but also with Adidas, with Burton. There is basically a strong demand for shopping malls to bring active entertainment into the shopping malls, to get people excited, to make sure they don't only buy online, but they also spend time in the shopping mall and they bring their kids and their families. And last but not least is all about fun and the team. I mean, look at those kids in the first picture. This is the first generation of Chinese skiers, and we bring not only a skill to them or a sport, it's really, we bring a lot of friends to them. It's a lifestyle, it's something where they can also spend quality time with their parents, which is a very important topic. And on the right-hand side, you see some of our 200 ski instructors. A couple of months ago, a lot of them didn't even know what skiing is all about. They never touched snow. Now they can make a living, they have a job, they earn good money, and they can support their families with something they really like. And they have a job 365 days a year, not only a seasonal job, which is very different from the ski resorts. So what all of this has to do with Andorra, we believe Andorra needs edutainment, education and entertainment, because even in the big European cities, it's not so easy any longer to bring people and the young kids to the ski resorts. So you need to find good ways to teach them. By, for example, having such a gym in Andorra, you can easily bring ski skills to the international schools, to the elementary schools. You can use the free time. You have a very fun place for the tourists. Even when they come in summer or during bad weather, they can improve their skills. And last but not least, it's also very good to connect with all institutions, because you have one more asset to offer. And guess what? In a couple of years from now, some relevant part of your guests will be Chinese. We heard before how much they like traveling. So you need to position yourselves now because the Chinese discovering interest in traveling and into winter sports now. And they are no longer group tourists, it's not coming by buses, they are very young people, highly educated, free individual travelers which are willing to spend if they get a very authentic and good experience. And last but not least, it's a very important network. It's a strong community. We are setting up the Shanghai International Ski Club, so you think about LinkedIn for a businessman who loves skiing. It's the time now, it's a very short time window, but we bring entrepreneurs from the Alps together with entrepreneurs from China, and it's much better to meet on the slopes rather than meeting in the meeting room because it creates a totally different level of trust. And by this, I will just show you a very short video about Snow 51 so you get some impression about how it looks like in one of our shops in Shanghai. So very soon from now, hopefully, Andorra is not only hosting the FIS World Cup on snow, but maybe also a World Cup on carpet skiing, because that's a big differentiator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, all of you guys, for amazing presentations, super interesting solutions for the audience. Make sure that you reach out to them to know more about their products, their services. I think it's great to have those solutions here showcased in Andorra, because at the end it's what we want to do, to position Andorra as a reference in innovation in the sports industry, especially focus on winter sports, mountain sports, and cycling. So guys, we have some minutes now for a small discussion. I'm gonna ask you some general questions for you to debate a little bit. And I wanted to start with what advice would you give to the entrepreneurs here in the audience, or the ones that are watching us through YouTube Live? What advice would you give to them, and in order to start a project, to found some successful startups like yourselves, because even though you're startups, you're very successful companies with great products, with some important customers. So I wanted to know, in your opinion, what advice would you give to the Andorran entrepreneurs? Maybe we can start with you, Etienne.
Sure. In my opinion, you can have the greatest idea, you can be the greatest engineer, you can have the best concept, and everything is perfect. If you don't have the people you need, you will fail. So what matters most to me is the people you surround yourself with, and the team you create. I'm not only talking about coworkers, but as well as counselors and investors. I feel that as an entrepreneur, and I'm not especially talking about myself since I didn't create the company, but as an entrepreneur, you're always wondering whether you're making the best decision or you're taking the wrong turn. So having brains around you that you can trust means a lot and can help you avoid thinking too much or actually making the wrong turn, and they will guide you in a direction. Maybe you will fail, but you will fail altogether. You will have at least shared the decision-making process. So that would be my input.
Companies are about people in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Andrés, what about yourself?
I think it depends a lot on the type of idea that you have. For example, Hermann's, or to build a Moonbike, you need infrastructure, you need engineers, you need money. In my startup, it's software. It's much easier you just need a computer and the internet, and you just develop and develop. So when it comes to investors, for example, in my case, I would say, when I say my case, the case where you can carry on by yourself as much as you can, my advice would be to do that, to just work as far as you can go with the resources that you have before you try to get money from outside. I see many times that people with an idea, the first thing that they worry is about getting investment without actually working on their idea first. So obviously you can only go as far as your resources allow you, but I would say do that, go as far as you can, and then talk to as many people as you can, investors, colleagues, friends, family, anybody that will be willing to listen, because you get feedback and advice and ideas from anywhere. It doesn't need to be a specialist in your industry. You could get ideas from almost anywhere. So that would be my advice.
Absolutely. Hermann, what about you?
If you learn one thing in China, it's to think big. Chinese are really very, very good in having bold visions. In the West, usually we think big once we are already big, but Chinese dare to think big from the very beginning. That's not easy, but I think it's very important. And it's not thinking big out in the blue, but it's really based on a lot of research. We, for example, studied the market nearly 18 months before we started to set up our first gym. So I think thinking big is very important. Don't let yourself discourage too early and too much, because a lot of people will always tell you why it won't work, but you need to be persistent. And I think you also need to be lucky, but you need to create the environment which allows you to be lucky. And I think this is like talking to a lot of people, to engaging, to networking. And so luck does not come by itself, but you need to be ready to receive luck.
So we can say human, talent, people, the team, listening to other stakeholders, to colleagues, to investors, to advisors, and also failing soon and failing quick is also very important. So you've mentioned investment. We've been talking about investment as well today. In your opinion, what are the main benefits that an investor can bring to a startup apart from just the money? Maybe Hermann, you were talking.
I think a lot of the discussion is always what can be brought besides the money. But to be honest, if you are a startup, the money is also very important, especially in the beginning. To have some funding can really bring you to the next level. But then quickly, obviously, it's what your investors can bring to the table in terms of their network. I think also in terms of fundraising. I mean, they play this game much better than you do, so it's very helpful once they are engaged that they help you to bring it to the next level. But still, money is not bad to get.
Andrés, you were.
I would say network and the opportunity to open doors for you that otherwise it would be very difficult for you to open them by yourself. And also sound advice, obviously. And also mid to long term, obviously an investor wants a return and they want to make money, but I think that should come in the mid-long term. I mean, if you are starting your company and your investor is rushing you to get profit right away, you might get the profit, but probably your business model might not last after the investor has left. So thinking mid to long term, I think is good.
Etienne?
Yeah, I believe investors, so since they invested in your company, it means that they trust you, they trust your idea, but at the same time, they usually have the experience and they are able to challenge you. So sometimes it's great to have someone that you trust as well, to show you that maybe you're not going in the best direction, and having someone that challenges you and it's going to force you to really either work in order to convince them, or maybe rethink what you were doing, and it's really important to have someone that is able to challenge your idea and your position, and investors can bring this, because in the end, as you were saying, they will want profitability in the long term. So it's the rationality of your company matters to them. So they are super interested in getting the best out of you.
That's very interesting. And to wrap up a little bit the session, you've already mentioned Andorra and what can your solutions bring to them. But in a sentence, in a nutshell, what is the added value do you think your companies can bring to Andorra and to the stakeholders? Etienne?
We've been talking about sustainability a lot today. I can see that Andorra has a beautiful terrain, beautiful landscape and mountains and nature. And from what I've learned and heard when looking into Andorra is that a lot of people are also interested in outdoor and off-road vehicles. So in my opinion, with Moonbikes, we offer an innovative and new way to have this motorsport vibe, all at the same time while respecting the environment and not harming the ecosystem, and enjoying the nature and the surrounding without compromising it. So this is what Moonbikes would bring to Andorra.
Perfect. Andrés?
I would say that all of us as normal people, we receive so many impacts in terms of advertising every day that it's difficult for any organization, brand to really grab our attention. So Andorra has so much to offer, not just ski, but everything else. So we offer the opportunity to be able to talk to almost each of us at an almost individual level, offering us the things that we'll probably find interesting, and therefore have a better chance to respond to that one piece of advertising or that piece of content that Andorra is offering, as opposed to choosing something else, because we get bombarded every day with, there is so much that the world is offering to us that to grab the attention takes personalization.
Hermann?
There's a new player, China, joining the winter sport game, which is a very good news for everyone who is in winter sports, which also means you need your China strategy, no matter how the China strategy looks like, but you will need one. And we can help Andorra in doing their China strategy, and I think we can also help them to bring more innovation to the market. We heard before there's some resistance of innovation sometimes into sports, and we get a lot of requests now from cities like Zurich or Salzburg or Vienna saying, what you are doing in China is great, but we need this for our kids because they also don't start skiing anymore. It's too difficult. And for example, a machine was just installed in Chamonix. So that's the new things you need to make sure that your youth is skiing and they get it in an entertaining way. And I think concepts like ours can help to lower this barrier. And we are here and interested to talk to see if we can help a lot of those alpine countries also to make the next step.
Hermann, Andrés, Etienne, thank you very much for your great presentation, super interesting solutions. Again, feel free to reach out to them now in the networking to know more about their companies. And thank you very much for coming to Andorra and for sharing these great insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.